Demand for Korean snacks has been growing in recent times amid the popularity of Korean content, including movies and dramas overseas. In fact, exports of ramyeon hit an all-time high in the first half of this year. So what is fueling the popularity of ramyeon overseas? What other Korean snacks are pleasing international palates? And what has been the role of online platforms in further boosting K-snacks abroad? Welcome to Issues and Insiders. Korean snacks appear to be riding high on the wave of Hallyu and are serving to please palates beyond borders. For more, I have Kwon Soa here in the studio. Soa, it's good to see you again.
Good to be here, Sunny.
I also have Jack Barton with us. Jack, it's been a while. Welcome back.
It's really good to be back.
Right, Soa, like I mentioned earlier, then exports of Korea's ramyeon hit a record high during the first 6 months of this year. Do tell us more about this feat.
Well, Koreans aren't getting sick of it and foreigners want more of it. So Korea's instant noodles, ramyeon, are flying off the shelves also abroad. In fact, ramyeon exports jumped almost 20% in the first half of this year compared to the year before, and that's amounting to $383.4 million US. And also, one data shows in the January to September period, also exports were up 18% on year. And in fact, outbound sales of ramyeon have been going up steadily since 2015, so for 7 consecutive years. So where are the ramyeon lovers around the world? The top 3 countries Korea is shipping ramyeon to are China, the US, and Japan, followed by Taiwan, the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia. So you have a lot of Southeast Asian nations, and Australia, Canada, as well as the Netherlands. Canada, this is very interesting. Exports to this country hiked 94% compared to the first half of last year. So you see that there are countries where ramyeon sales are steadily going up, and then there are also some newcomers in this market. And these are some mainly largely populated countries I mentioned, but also on the island country Samoa, with a population just a little over 200,000. 육개장 사발면, this is one particular Korean ramyeon, was consumed 62 times a year on average.
Right, that's a spicy one.
It is spicy, not too spicy, but it's got some meat flavor to it. And also, as we're speaking about a variety of ramen types, the demand for instance, 불닭볶음면, which is a extra spicy and chicken flavored version, this popularity is going up. And also japaguri. I think later on Jack will more talk about the japaguri, why this has been popular. And then also halal certified ramyeon is being targeted, for instance, in the Middle East and Southeast Asian nations. And consumption in Korea has also risen. According to a latest survey, South Koreans eat ramen 1.7 times a week on average.
Right, I see. And Jack, then, how do you explain this growing popularity of ramyeon on the international front?
Well, I can speak for Australia, and we've always had instant noodles or 2-minute noodles as long as I can remember. And they were sort of a bland, whitish noodle in a dishwatery looking sauce with maybe a couple of dried onions. And they were kind of tasty, so we thought. But you would only really eat them if you were a student on a low-income job, unemployed, a little tight for cash. That's the only time you would eat instant noodles. But I always used to think they were quite yummy, and until Korean noodles or ramyeon came along. The fact that we actually call them ramyeon now and give them a name, rather than just calling them instant noodles, also talks to the psychology of how delicious this food is. And it's really just about taste. As soon as you eat it, you look at it, it's just a better looking dish. You taste it, it's 20 times better looking than anything we had on the market before. And I think the other countries are sort of playing catch up now. It's not like all other brands have disappeared off the shelf, but you do notice in Australia that the rivals are getting better and better. Still, I would say you just can't beat the Korean ramyeon for flavor, but it just comes down to taste. We hadn't tasted it before. Once we tasted it, we realized, oh my goodness, what have we been eating for the past few decades?
Right, I see. And I understand that overseas sales of ramyeon also rose during the early months of the pandemic. As you mentioned, they have been rising actually since the year 2015.
Right. I mean, in most countries, COVID-19 started to break out in year 2020. So, and it's in the first quarter of that year that Korean ramen experienced a surge in orders inside and outside of the country. And this is because of social distancing and especially lockdowns. We didn't have strict lockdowns in Korea, but in China, the US, and also European countries. And this is why sales of ready-to-eat meals started to increase, with Korea's ramen also becoming popular among those. In fact, in the first quarter of 2020, exports of ramen surged 73% on year. And also in the first half of 2020, exports rose by 37.4%. And industry watchers and business people in this sector say that it's not only because of the taste, although earlier Jack really stressed that it is the taste what is leading to this popularity. But during COVID, it was also because of the affordable price and also the long-term storage capability. So yeah, based on that growing popularity, ramen exports even continued to go up as many countries were shifting into an endemic phase. And that's also why there are efforts in localizing the ramen products in other countries.
Right, I see. Jack, do you suppose the presence of Hallyu served to better promote perhaps Korean snacks, including ramen overseas?
Yeah, there are many factors, but that's got to be one of the central factors. Movies like Parasite with japaguri, the two noodles mixed together, though I'm more of a fan of the spicy red combination, brought that to everyone's attention. In Squid Game, we saw a variety of things like dalgona, the biscuits that you can break apart. I hadn't even heard of them actually before the show, and I still can't do the umbrella and find it extremely frustrating. But not just the movies. If we think about K-drama, every time you watch a K-drama, it's littered with snacks or banana milk, all sorts of things. And this has really informed people's idea of Korean cuisine, Korean food, Korean snacks. And again, if I look to Australia, when I left Australia 20-something years ago, there was a couple of Korean barbecue places here or there, but it was very run-of-the-mill. Now there are like tteokbokki, which is a great snack food. I mean, there are tteokbokki places everywhere, or chicken chimek places everywhere. And when it comes to restaurants, like army soup places everywhere. And, you know, there's a rivalry now, and not just an awareness, but people are coming to think they have an expertise in things. And I think, yeah, Hallyu has definitely had a big part in informing people about the food, but also how to eat it. I think years ago, when I first had my first bulgogi, a friend introduced, sorry, not a bulgogi, bibimbap, and a friend introduced it to me at a restaurant, and we ate it, not knowing you have to mix it up and put some of the red sauce in it. You know, there is a strong DIY element to the cuisine and even the snacks. And so, yeah, through the entertainment culture, we've learned what to eat, but just as importantly, how to eat it, which is such a big part of the Korean eating experience.
Right, a very good point, of course, a very good point. So Jack mentioned banana milk, which was one of my favorites when I was younger. Could you tell us a bit more about this popular drink?
Sure. So we're talking about the 빙그레 banana milk. I think around 800,000 빙그레 banana milks are being sold on a daily basis in Korea. And it all started back in the 1970s when the Korean government was trying to encourage people to drink more milk. So we're speaking about just white milk, but it was not popular at all. So what the food and beverage firm 빙그레 did was mixing banana flavor into white milk, and it started to sell tremendously. But it's still got the healthy part of it, because there is 80% of white milk inside this banana flavored milk. And then the popularity has grown beyond Korea. In 2004, the company started to export this milk to the US, and now it's being sold in more than a dozen countries. Also, it's not just the banana flavor. I think you know that there's also strawberry, melon, coffee, and there are also some seasonal flavors, just like lychee I also saw before. So yeah, it's also the unique chubby bottle that's popular. It's actually the design is based on traditional Korean vases, but because of the expiration date in other countries, it's also being sold in sterilized cartons. So there are some different versions.
Right, I see. Jack, some pundits claim that Mukbang has also done its part in promoting Korean snacks beyond borders. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's undoubtedly true. I personally think mukbang's a little bit weird, you know, but it's hugely popular, so much so that when we see other countries replicating it, as a show, they give it the Korean name, mukbang, and it's even in the dictionary now, in the Oxford Dictionary as a word. So it's a big global phenomena, and it has informed what people eat, how people eat, again. But I think importantly, mukbang and Hallyu and all of these things came at the same time as we saw the influencer movement on social media rise. And this has been critical, I think, to the spreading of the knowledge of Korean culture, Korean food. This has come at exactly the right time. And if we look, it's so popular among influencers spreading the knowledge of Korean food. We see the guy in England, the young guy who takes chicken around to try everybody with it, and everyone's of course, oh, this is the best chicken I've ever had. So much so they brought some master chefs over. But even trying all different foods or different flavors and getting people to try and guess what they are, it's become part of the influencer social media boom. And I think that has been, so yes, mukbang is fed into that, but it's really this kind of social media influencer phenomena that has come exactly at the same time to parallel it, that has spread it so quickly around the globe.
Right, I would have to agree actually. So another all-time popular Korean snack is Choco pie. Could you tell us a bit about its global standing?
Sure. So if you type in Choco pie into a search engine, you'll find images of the same red box with the fluffy Choco pie pictures on it from all around the world. So some descriptions are in different various language because Orion's Choco pie has been a best-selling snack product in Asian countries like China and Vietnam, but also like the US and Russia. And largely thanks to this continuous popularity of this snack, Orion Corporation is currently Asia's top confectionery brand and ranks 12th in the world, which is up 2 spots from 2021. And this is according to the 2022 Global Top 100 by Candy Industry, which is a magazine that covers global confectioneries. And the result is based on annual net sales of the previous year. Also, not only Orion, but also Lotte's Choco pie is a star product abroad, and other firms have their own versions of this chocolate-covered marshmallow snack. And it's not only about the taste. It's also because a concept called jong in Korean. It's kind of sharing, the feeling of attachment to other people. And this kind of concept has also helped in promoting this Choco pie abroad. And I also want to mention an interesting fact about Choco pies being distributed at the currently suspended Inter-Korean Kaesong Industrial Complex. So years ago, North Korean workers were given a Choco pie as kind of incentives because Korean businesses were not allowed to give them incentives in money, of course. So, for instance, they distributed them 3 Choco pies a day to spur motivation for people who did overwork or some strenuous work. They gave them even more Choco pies, but it's not for them to eat these Choco pies in between their work, but it's rather they sold these Choco pies again, so it really helped their, their
livelihoods.
Exactly, yes, their livelihoods and their families. So yeah, that's also an interesting fact about Choco pie.
Right, it really is actually. Jack, shrimp crackers, they were launched back in 1971, around my era, and they were Korea's first snack products, and they currently include a spicy flavor as well. That being said, do you believe Korean snacks perhaps include more diverse flavors than the conventional flavors of being either salty or sweet or etc.? What are your thoughts?
I think so. Outside Korea, you will find products offering a lot of flavors, but they do tend to still the dominant factor underneath them is a saltiness, a sweetness, or an oiliness. So there is a bigger complexity of flavors, and again on the internet we see the almonds in particular. There's one brand that has many different flavors, and they'll have people do blind testing and try and guess what they are, which again raises the awareness of these products, but I still think it comes back to the quality of the flavor. So it's not the complexity, it's just it tastes really good. And Choco pies, I worked in Europe for a long time, based in Brussels. Europeans have a sort of a version of a Choco pie, particularly down in Italy. They like to have it with a coffee, but I would always bring a big box over and bring it to the office, and people loved it. They would say, oh, this tastes really good. It would be a favorite. There just is something. And it's not a chance. I think in Korea is known for trying to get great flavors and for trying to get the complexity, the salty, the sweet, the soft and the brittle, the colors right. It's trying to find balance in everything, and it's this balance of flavor that really strikes the right note with people, whether it is like a tteokbokki or a choco pie, whatever it is. I think the dominant thing is the quality of the flavor.
Right, thank you for your kind words. All right, Jack, as always, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. And Soa, thank you very much for your insights today.
My pleasure.
Right, well, that is all the time we have for this edition of Issues and Insiders. Thank you for watching.